All right. Y'all know what kind of day it is. Oh, my people. Hello. It's monthly report day. Yay. Love these parts of the month. And I'm quite loud today. There we go. And today we actually got it at a reasonable time. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another day of your favorite squishy fruit. That fruit that's just a little bit too watery for your burger, but you still like it because it adds a decent amount of moisture. Too much moisture, that's the problem. As always. Today we're getting the monthly report at a reasonable time. Like I said, we are going over it on the 5th of October. I believe last month we went over the monthly report on like the 14th or something. They were very, very late in the month. If you're new to this, we do these every month. I both post a higher produced, shorter summary of the monthly reports to my main channel you may have seen. Obviously, if you want to get through things over your monthly coffee or tea, welcome morning tea. And we also do these really, really deep dives like we're about to do here. And this is going to be probably an hour, hour and a half long, 2 hours long maybe. And it will be shortened to a video, a deep dive video for the second channel, but also for all of you guys who are here live, we get to just kind of discuss this stuff. So for anybody who's getting in here, we will get off topic. We will. I get sidetracked all the time. I go on tangents. I talk about these things that we are going over in these monthly reports, but you're going to get video footage. You're going to get conceptual art and infographic footage proof, I guess. You're also going to see some of the stuff that they've said in the past that relates to these things. So while I can be a little bit all over the place as a host, I at least try to give you a little more context and make it worth your while. So thanks for joining. I hope you enjoy. I see Toes Gang is here. Chris into the chat with their toes. And we've also got a normal salute in chat. I always appreciate that. Zeppelin, thank you for that. Nahore, I see you first in chat today. Welcome. How you doing? Toes Gang has assembled Supposit Punji. I see you guys spamming them up. I was just actually saying in chat before we started that we're gonna get some new emotes in chat soon. For those of you who have checked out our new merch store, all of those new characters added to the merch store, we're kind of filling out the garden. So we've got potatoes, radishes, carrots, lemons, all kinds of little characters, all drawn by Mrs. Tomato. They're all going to be emotes at some point too. So keep an eye out for those. And if you are interested in getting merch, I just want to say, we'll be bringing merch with us to CitizenCon. So if you're going to be at CitizenCon, don't worry about buying it online. Skip the shipping, skip the waiting, grab it from us in person. We'll be giving away and selling stuff there. So just wanted to let you know, because some people have been buying it. We've actually had a lot of people going through and getting some of the GII stuff and have been sending emails concerned if they're going to get their stuff or not. Apparently the Spirit D1 is going into production. The Spirit D1. Oh. Don't waste money on SCs. Waste money on the socks. Yeah, we're having a big sock sale. Intergalactic Sock Space Expo. Let's talk about Diablo. What? Vasten, good to see you. Azorm, welcome. Trike, 07's buddy. Chris Hopper, good to see you. Amano. All right. Fall Matrix, hello. You got here just in time. We're about to get into this. D1 concept ship made, and you're trying to get everyone to upvote your idea. I'm glad it's in production.
There he is!
Somebody. He's not there. In fact, he's gone for quite a while. What about Intergalactic Space Pants? We've actually got a really cool surprise. We made a couple of exclusive Tomat pieces, and Mrs. Tomato got the coolest Intergalactic Space Tomato Pants. I love them. I got a hoodie version, but the Intergalactic Space Pants, they live. Oh, he was joking. You were messing with him. Supposit. Evil. Evil. The monthly report reeks of saving for CitizenCon. Oh, I am sure. You can't get away from it. Turn from it, flee from it, run from it. It is inevitable. I should make a meme of like Thanos saying those lines, but like the CitizenCon logo over his face. Anybody else very good at graphic design that could do that? Because CitizenCon is truly an inevitable force that changes everything throughout the year. I mean, look at how much has changed just in the last couple of weeks based on kind of, I think, some preparation for a CitizenCon patch. Still better than a normal monthly report. That's saying something, dude. The monthly reports this year, they have been something special. That's what's been the most frustrating thing about the year. A little preamble before we truly dive into this. Monthly reports are the Star Citizen Bible. And I say that as the deepest of cult members. No, I'm kidding. People will say things like, oh, Star Citizen, a cult. They've got their Bible. They know what the blah, 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 blah. What they don't know is these monthly reports are the actual Bible. These are the things that they don't lie. Now, they don't tell the whole story. But these aren't... You know how people have a problem with Inside Star Citizen, where they'll watch some footage and they'll hear one thing, see some footage, they don't necessarily match because ISC has interesting footage and it'll make them mad? You don't get that from the monthly reports. What you read is what you get. And what you read is literally what's going on in the company. These are the best way to know what's going on with Star Citizen. And these have been the best part of Star Citizen this year. Because amongst all of this information drought we went through in 2023, the monthly reports have been that one source of like good news and kind of the only thing that have been telling us that there's a lot of stuff down the road that's coming up that we're now starting to see in other ways on Spectrum and ISC and in-game. But like the monthly reports are what's saying that they're working. Granted, they did not prepare us for the jump points. But that being said, I've held you guys back long enough. Oh, they use the word server meshing. Nice. Jim, you are not late. We're jumping in right now. It's time. Like I said, if you want a shorter experience, I've got one on the main channel coming to you probably next week. Okay, so as we are wont to do, we're starting out with features today in the AI section. In September, AI features focused on the ongoing male-to-female animation retargeting, ensuring that Pyro's female characters are up to the same standard as their male counterparts. Recent work including retargeting combat and social animations. That just sounds like they're working on dudes' abilities to like shoot at women or like target them. You gotta make sure that men can target women. You really like the more comedy style ISCs? To each their own, right? Hey, Purple Yeti. On the code side, the team worked on PU performance for the upcoming patch. They also solved issues including NPCs not reacting to players pointing guns at them, and fixed bugs with usable alignment slots not working as intended. This is something that I believe is functioning in-game now. So, AI is very weird with their additions, because AI doesn't translate directly into game because the server strength is so bad. The server performance is so bad. Something that hopefully the replication layer will help with. AI really struggles to show the improvements they make in the game. So we've been reading about AI improvements nonstop without actually seeing them all that much. Every once in a while, though, one of these things is visible. And I think all of this stuff will eventually make a very big difference in the game. But right now, they do kind of react to you pointing a gun at them, which... interestingly enough, and I know this has been pointed out probably more than it needs to be, doesn't work in Starfield. That was one of the things that surprised me the first day I was playing. I was playing on a laptop, playing video games on laptops, I didn't even have a mouse. I was literally playing with the trackpad. It was terrible. And in doing so, my fingers couldn't select things correctly. And I accidentally shot my gun at the ground right next to a civilian, and they didn't react. And that was the first time I was like, wait, the NPCs don't really react that much, which was kind of strange to me. So at least we can say that Star Citizen's AI are doing that a little bit better. But anyways, not to draw comparisons because that's just kind of rude. Let's move on to AI tech. Now, we just went over AI features. Generally, the way this works is AI tech will work on the features, pass them, or work on the actual technology in the game. They will then pass that technology on to the AI features team, who will build it into features. And then the AI features team will pass it on to the content teams, who will include those features in the game, put them into set pieces, make the actual content that we're doing. So AI tech team is working on stuff that's pretty far out generally, as far as AI goes, or as far as the PU goes. Now, AI tech continued developing various features throughout September, including Boyd's and the Apollo tool, and began focusing on performance improvements and polishing existing features. For Boyd's, the base structure that allows the designers to define Boyd states, wandering, fleeing, idling, or dead, and transition between them was implemented. These transitions contain rules, including when they should be selected, and animation data, such as birds taking off and landing. Iteration was also done on suitable physics properties for Boyd agents that need to be affected by gravity to walk on terrain. Again, this is kind of the thing that, like, generally I imagine isn't a problem. Having to think about your little random birds and rats and, like, animals that are just hanging out, how they have to be affected by gravity wherever they go. I assume if your whole game has the same amount of gravity, that's not even a variable that you have to adjust. But imagine having different types of gravity. That the things that are just little extra sight dressing has to be considered. That's kind of annoying. The team also added health components to agents so players can damage and potentially kill them. Oh! So we get to murder the bats and birds and roes and crows. Roes? As humans are, as we do. For the Apollo subsumption tool, the team completed an error reporting panel that will provide detailed information on behavior issues. This will help the designers catch problems sooner and solve them more easily. Various quality of life improvements requested by designers were implemented too. It's been a little while, guys, since we went over subsumption. How about we take a little dip into subsumption land? For those who are a little bit new, this shows up everywhere all the time, but subsumption is the tool that drives the flow of AI and mission logic. So basically an if-else statement in GUI form that can take control of any AI-controlled function. So if somebody needs to reload, this will tell them when to do it and under what circumstances. If that reload fails, this will tell them what to do. If it doesn't fail, this will tell them how that's different. It's a very powerful system. It's super central to how we are going to interpret the game. And they've been building it a lot for a long time. The footage I just showed you is from 2017. 2017, maybe 2018. And you can see here is footage from now this year, 2023. It really hasn't changed all that much. This has been an integral tool that they know well, that they've been using for a long time. They have complete control over it, having control over the engine. They can adjust this to work how they need it to for Star Citizen as they move forward. And so every time we see from one of these monthly report updates, that's just them making little tweaks to this software to make it easier for the devs to build the game. Yeah, different gravities, different values of gravity acceleration. Moving on from subsumption. Performance improvements were also made, with the team looking closely at systems that impact performance on dedicated servers. For example, optimizations were made to how navigation islands compute after parts of the navigation mesh are regenerated. For navigation volume, code was cleaned up and event dispatching was moved to update job, which better distributes to multiple threads. The team are currently investigating and implementing optimizations to planetary navigation generation and pathfinding request processing. There's something that we haven't gotten to hear as much about as I think we should have by now. It almost feels like the reputation system. We got the basic version of something that I really did expect constant iteration on, but they've dropped it off. That is AI navigating on the planet. They don't do it. They only do it in very specific places, and we don't know when they're going to start to do it in other places. I guess we don't know when they're going to have reasons to go to other places, but I would really like to hear more about AI navigation updates for missions and stuff like that. Because, like, who doesn't want to have some missions where we're, like, driving across the land and running into... Or that ambush we saw at CitizenCon? When we were going over CitizenCons, what was that, last week, 2 weeks ago? And there were all the, like, there was the random AI ambush that we were like, that doesn't happen. Make it happen. They do it occasionally on the Orison shuttles and elevators. They do what occasionally? Boyd will be reskinned as a creepy space enemy. Probably for EVA horror. Matt Sully, good morning. How are you doing today? Oh, they use the, like they transition. Future feature you're most looking forward to? The expansion of reputation, I think. And the economy. Tea break, everybody. Server meshing for you? I feel like that goes without saying, right? We need turrets that would make us want to drive, or weather. Weather, turrets. Start making caves that have, like, wind that's too powerful for our ships to be able to handle them. Make it harder to fly, you know? I just put out a video that talks about the return of hover mode. Do more of that kind of stuff. Makes people fly less. Shoot us literally out of the sky. Alright. We went over the performance improvements. A small update and new functionality were also added to the collision avoidance system. Now, collision avoidance agents have support for skipping and ignoring lists, which is used when agents move together as a group. Ignoring lists. Oh, okay. For NPCs using trolleys, improvements were made to collision avoidance, and a new component was added to the trolley that will trigger the regeneration of navigation mesh when it stops moving. This is one that we've been talking about for a little while now. The trolley thing is like... I think it's sort of up in the air how that's going to work, because they've introduced wheeled and hover trolleys. I'm guessing hover trolleys will be the way they go. Or maybe they'll do it differently depending on where you are, but these... trolleys, we all know, are supposed to be how...
But it also expands our toolbar for level designers.
Supposed to be how some of these boxes are getting transported, whether it's through trolleys or tractor beams. This is a functionality that they have to make sure all AI can do as well as players, since we'd be paying AI to load up the ship. I have footage of... Man, what would that be under? I have footage of the AI actually doing this, loading a ship with boxes, but I'm not sure. It's not on a drive that I can search, so I would have to go back through and manually look for it, which might take too long. But that's why we hear so much about AI with trolleys and usables and in hangars. They're being prepared for loading and unloading our ships with these cargo updates that we see coming up. All towards the same goal. Don't think I'm going to find this footage. That's too bad. Is there a video today or not? Because of CitizenCon, we get ISC today. I believe it's the last one this season. It seems that SC is in a good place. A lot of progress are happening. I think it's in an okay place. But it is interesting that the outlook for Star Citizen can swing so wildly. You know, go back a month and a half ago, and things were not going well. I mean, even a couple of weeks ago, it really just shows how much just a little bit of that communication, and not just any communication on specific things, like server meshing, like the replication layer, like their plans for the immediate future, which I know they can't necessarily share at all times because they don't know. Things are always changing. But it's just interesting to me to see how much the little bits of communication in those sorts of situations can change the outlook. And we're not a hive mind. Some people still don't believe things are going well. Some people have thought things have been going well the whole time. Some people are somewhere in between. Not to say everyone's the same. But I know for a lot of people, the outlook on the game has shifted a lot over the last few months. Myself included, considering they're actually now talking about server meshing again. But yeah, I think as far as the game itself is going, things look like they're in a pretty good place. Back-end technology-wise, I am concerned about their entity graph and how that's performing and whether or not they'll be able to get that figured out in a reasonable amount of time. But as far as game goes, gameplay, developments outside of server meshing, things seem to be going well. Yeah. Let's continue. Regarding flow graph subsumption nodes, we just went over subsumption, the team can now generate nodes with dynamic input based on subsumption's event description. This will help the designers write more complex behaviors for NPCs and missions. So that again, if you go back to what subsumption is, and then consider kind of subsumption. I hate spelling this word. Oh, and I spelled it wrong. I said sussumption. If you go back to subsumption and you look at what is happening, and you can see, like, so the name of this event is on lost sight of target. Obviously, it's saying target loses sight, right? An AI is looking at you and you run behind a building. It's saying, if that does happen, do this. If that doesn't happen, wait for this event. So if we go back to what they're saying about subsumption here, the team can now generate nodes with dynamic input based on subsumption's event description. So just going back, you see the event description, and it probably means something like, if they lose sight and, like, God, I'm not even going to try and define this. I'm not going to try to explain it. I just realized I'm way out of my depth. But it allows them to, instead of just writing some kind of simple action being triggered, it can add in more variables, I imagine. It can consider more of its surroundings than just that one single action. I'm not even going to try to explain deeper than that. That's just asking for embarrassment. The AI tech team also supported the Alpha 3.20 release, CitizenCon, and the Squadron 42 feature teams. As much as I'm like reading this stuff out, I only know it based on what I've read in the past. I'm not an actual game developer. So when they say these things, I'll try to explain them as best I can based on what I've seen. But sometimes it's over my head. It's past me. I'm not taught about this stuff. You're concerned about their inventory database issues? Changing to a whole new database would set them back a long time. Agreed, Little Gray. I really, really hope that it doesn't go in that direction. Animation. Last month, the animation team worked towards ensuring all male animations are also available for the female character. There is something that, like I said, was mentioned on Spectrum last week, I think it was, with the little hint of wait for CitizenCon to see more. So we might see an overall feature parity between female animations and armor and clothing and helmets, at least talked about at CitizenCon this month. Kind of surprised these animations weren't already like that, to be honest. Yeah, this has been, I won't say controversial, this has been a pain point with the community for a while. Like, in terms of character customization, on one hand, we're playing a game, we're playing an MMO, we're playing something where you are creating a character that persists sometimes for over a year. We've had characters persist, and being able to customize those people is kind of important, you know, and there's just not many choices. On the other hand, the game is so lacking of basic stuff. You want to be like, okay, we'll get to that. Like, character customization, yeah, it's important, but we want the game to work. So I understand that it's taken so long, but it's also really frustrating that it has. I'm glad to see this stuff happening. You'll see female characters doing more in an upcoming patch. Keep in mind that with this large volume, there will be considerable visual artifacts we need to sort out. So I guess this would count for AI as well. It also created the initial animations for a new creature. They talked about a new creature before. I wonder if this is an additional creature to the 3 we already know about. Alright, art on the character side in September. The character art team finished the Headhunter outfit and progressed with the Duster's outfit. I am so tired of hearing about these gangs. Oh my god. Alongside this, the character concept art team explored ideas for fauna and medical backpacks and prepared handoff sheets for a racing suit. Medical backpacks is fun. You know what we never saw? We never saw the fabled salvage backpack. Here's something I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to put all of the monthly reports text documents into a single document and then try and find a way or find somebody who can write a program that records all of these reports into that document every time they're revealed. Because I'd love to be able to control F and look back for salvage backpack. Like, what happened to that? Right, they were working on the salvage backpack alongside FPS Salvage, and then it just never came out. Think they'll ever have creature hunting? Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you come back up here and you look at what they're talking about with AI, where is it? With Boyd's. The team is adding health components to agents so players can damage and potentially kill them. This is just talking about, like, the little animals like birds and rats. You'll definitely be able to do hunting. I'll show you. Let me show you one of the things that you're going to be hunting. It's called the Boreal Stalker. This is like a Yeti-type bear animal that lives on Microtech. Probably be pretty fun to fight. A little bit terrifying. But mostly fun. Plenty glitchy. Nowhere near as terrifying as this guy. This is called the whip crab. And this is something that you're going to be fighting in Pyro. It's also got little babies. Look at that. Little baby. But the big one, this is another piece of fauna that is being worked on actively. We know this will be in the game. These are two of the bad boys you're going to be hunting. And then, of course, there is... let me see if I can find this real quick. This isn't... Like, I don't think the space whales are going to be something that you're fighting, per se. So much as, like, exploring. Although I do have folks in GII who are asking me if we're going to be doing any whaling. I told them until the UN tells us they've been overfished. We'll push them to the limit. I'm not seeing... Oh, here we go. And this is the third animal that we know for sure is a focus for them. We don't know if it's something they're doing right now, but it is a focus. The last thing besides this is a space cow, which I'm not sure I have pictures of. And people are talking about a dog. So there are several different types of non-intelligent aliens they're working on that we'll be able to find when we go to different planets. But they won't be on every planet. They'll be on probably almost none. Any face huggers? Not yet. Not yet, but just wait. Imagine the horror that they could fit into Star Citizen. The game's atmosphere is... Woo! And then put it in virtual reality. Ooh! I don't like that. Okay. Art. Art on the ship's side. Here we go. This is actually really small. Who was it that was saying this was a low one because of CitizenCon? I'm pretty sure this is the smallest art ship section I've ever seen, and there's like 8 different vehicles being worked on right now. They're definitely holding back. All right, so in the US, a new vehicle variant was completed with final bug fixing and polish currently underway. That tells us just about nothing, but let's go back a month and see if they were talking about this one last month. Face huggers. No. From Alien. Why don't they add NPCs at the Shubin or other mining areas? I imagine the guy working at the storage buildings gets way lonesome. Have you talked to him? You can tell he doesn't normally talk to people. I don't know why they don't add AI there. Guessing just not worth the load. What's up, JS? How's it going? Let's see. So we're going to art ships. Last month, the ship art team completed their work on Tumbrel Storm. No. 2 new variants of an existing vehicle were completed. Okay, could be that. It could be that. So there could be a vehicle that has 2 new variants in the works, and one of them was completed. Let's go back to July real quick and see what they're saying there. Tracking it down. See, look at how big this art section is for ships just 2 months ago. And you're telling me that they're now down to this? Man, the design for this page really changes a lot. Okay. So back here, they were saying an as yet unannounced ship. That was probably the Fury LX. Work on a new ship variant continued with the dashboard and cockpit, the dash pit and cockboard receiving attention. But this says new ship variant, which is different from a new vehicle variant, new variants of an existing vehicle and a new vehicle variant. So that might be something else. This might be actually the Fury LX now that I think of it. Bad about my friend. So I'm not sure what it could be, but it looks like it has been worked on in previous months. I think this might actually be one of 2 variants for this vehicle, so we'll see what it is. Could be those cutter variants we've heard about. Yeah, sounds like it could be the cutter. The white box for one of the new vehicle mentioned in the previous PU report is nearing completion. Okay. Last month, the team solved some of the space issues, opting for smaller beds with a tighter layout. They also separated out the base model from the variants. Wait, what? Hold on. White box vehicle. An all-new ship progressed through white box, revealing various areas that require updating from the concept. Hold on. See, here's a problem again. This is my problem again with their nomenclature, because I was literally just telling you that you have to watch their words to understand. Here they're saying the white box for one of the new vehicles mentioned in the previous PU report. So we should be looking for a new vehicle in the previous report going into white box. We have an all-new ship going through white box. We have the X1 going through white box. But there's no vehicle mentioned in the previous report going through white box. So they must be referring to the new ship going through white box. But in that case, why say vehicle here? What do you guys think? This kind of confuses and I don't want to say annoys me because I might be wrong here. But I feel like we're breaking away from the correct word being used there. Why do I think they care about wording? Because they use different words, and it has proven true at times. There have been times when we've looked at these and seen that it says vehicle instead of ship and found and been able to predict that it's a ground vehicle, and we were right. The wording, I think the wording is important when all we have to go off of is the words. And also we're kind of obsessing over this, so this is the place to do it. Vehicle can be a ship too. I think a ship can be a vehicle. You think they're just interchangeable? What if there are different people writing that report? That could be it too. We don't know. Could definitely be different people. Design a ground vehicle that could be bed logged in. All right, well, let's assume that this is like a different person or they're not referring to the same thing. The white box for a new vehicle mentioned in the previous P report is nearing completion. We will, I guess, assume it's the same thing, which means it's something that we know about because they have released a concept. It has beds in it, I think they said here. Yeah, opting for smaller beds with a tighter layout. And it has a base model versus variants. So we're looking at something that would make sense in the white box, has variants, and has beds. That does point towards the Apollo. Previous could mean past. I would assume it would mean any past if they said in a previous P report. But since they said in the previous P report, I think they're referring to something specific. Could be the Apollo. G12 doesn't have any beds, yeah. A ground vehicle with beds would be very interesting. Like a Lynx rover with a medical bed inside, a little ambulance. They really have to come up with reasons to have vehicles then. Series doesn't have a base model. Yeah, and the Apollo did show up on their monthly on the roadmap. It's a ship that doesn't make sense not to have unless we can't get drones yet. I can't think of what other ship it might be. It's something we know about that's in concept that has beds. It wouldn't be like an Odyssey or something like that. That'd be too big. Wouldn't be the Vulcan. Yeah, I say we go with the Apollo there. Maybe they're working on the Apollo. We'll keep an eye on that and see. The Aopoa Santok Yai is almost content complete, including cockpit animations that heavily lean into the alien language. Oh, that's fun. The interior damage pass is also nearly done, including a new map generated specifically for Aopoa. Okay. Upcoming tasks include lighting polish before the LOD pass. I bet you they're going to take stuff they've done on the Santok Yai and incorporate them into the Cartual when they do the gold pass on that ship. This ship's probably so much better than the Cartual in terms of like actually feeling alien. Apollo only has 2 ships. Oh, and you're saying because the base model has variants, it sounds like 3. 600i? No, that only has 2 ships as well. Yeah, if it has to be a vehicle or ship that has 3 models, I don't think we have anything that fits that description. They might just be misspeaking now, or maybe they haven't actually announced this. Maybe they're just saying concept as like an internal concept. Spirits, but the spirits aren't in white box. This is something that's in white box. Cutlass isn't in white box either. Cutter isn't in white box. This has to be something that is fully in white box. And is a new vehicle. We don't have this in game yet. But it has beds. And I'm trying to think. The Zeus. Apollo only has 2. Spirit is out of white box. Galaxy is modular. That would be cool. But I feel like the Galaxy, like, would they consider the Galaxy's different modules variants? The Polaris doesn't have any variants either. Maybe it's a Cyclone. 600i rework? No, I don't, because that one's not white box either. Maybe they're just talking about the variants being in white box. Polaris RSI mining ship. That would be interesting if the RSI mining ship was a 3-ship series. The Cuddies, the Hull series, no. Freelancers, Reliant, Constellation. Guys, I don't know what this could be. Vanguard? No, that's not in. I don't know. I feel like the wording that they're using is probably throwing us off. The white box for one of the new vehicles mentioned. I'm so interested to figure out what this could be. And I bet you whenever we find out, we're going to be like, duh. But, I don't know. We'll keep guessing. I'm sure it'll be in next month's monthly report. Alright, finally work continued on remote tractor beam gameplay, including how the hardpoint... Yo, wait, I got raided! We got raided by Burks! Holy crap, I'm sorry I missed that. I see that three minutes ago. We were so deep in thought. Thank you for the raid, I appreciate you. Welcome in, folks. How did I miss that? Over on Twitch, we got a whole bunch of people in here coming to check out. We're looking through the monthly report. We're going over what's going on in Star Citizen right now, how it's going. Is Burke still here? Where is my man? Welcome in, everybody. Lieutenant Wolf, how you doing? So the final thing that they mentioned here in the art section is remote tractor beam gameplay, including how the hardpoint should be used to create the best player experience. Honestly, we don't hear about gameplay in the art section too much. Interesting that they're saying that. But tractor beams are going to be good. That's, I mean, I don't know what they mean by work continued. How I expect the tractor beam gameplay to be pretty far along at this point, since we now know it is slated for 3.21. Cutlass Black Best in Show is getting an update. Yo, what's up? How's the stream? It's going well. This monthly report, have you read it yet? It's very short. I feel like it's almost passive-aggressive short. Like, Star Citizen is at that point in their relationship where they just want to get through every conversation as quick as possible. Thoughts on the jump points? Hyper Pyro soon? I don't think that we're going to get Pyro soon because of it, but it is pretty fantastic to, like, they feel more real, you know? It doesn't mean anything substantial, but like we've been seeing Pyro soon for so many years, and now finally not only are the actual locations getting put into the game, but like the technology's coming together. We got PES. It's actually happened, and supposedly in this patch that we're in right now, we're going to get replication layer separation. So it does reek of actual progress. That's nice. more messaging than we've gotten the rest of the year. Yeah, feels closer, not yet. Do you think, what do you think? Early next year? Late next year? 2026? Retaliator variants? Again, the Retaliator is already in game, which is why I feel like the wording is kind of throwing it off. Like, maybe it's not all white box. Maybe just what they were talking about was in white box. So, yeah, we got vehicle tractor beam scheduled for 321, and it's not committed. Wonder what else is committed. Looks like the A1 is committed. That's good. So it's still tentative, which means maybe they are a bit behind on it, but like, I hope they're doing well on it. It just says implementation here. That's it. What do we get? Implementation. Deal with it. Think we might see Pyro for Invictus next year. Ooh. If everything goes well later next year. Yeah, summer of next year would be solid. Invictus of next year would be insane. Oh my god. So much CIG is going to wake up. Chris Roberts going to wake up one morning and be like, you know what we haven't had? A smooth Invictus rollout. Let's launch 4.0 for Invictus. Let's stick with tradition. Now, I don't know. Maybe they'll do it again like they did this year, where they launched 3.18 and then had another patch to shore up 3.18 shortly after. So, like, let's say we get 321.1 with the replication layer in December. They take the next patch to solidify that. So we would probably get an interim patch in March. And then shortly after that interim patch, I would think right after Invictus Week, after Alien Week, you know, June, July-ish, we see a 4.0 drop. That's my best case scenario. Actually, my best case scenario is we see the replication layer come in December, and because of all the testing goes so well, we're able to get a 4.0 in March. That's best case scenario, which somebody could probably clip that and show it to me in March, and I'd shake my head. You might have too much hopium. We've all got too much hopium, man. Soak it in. Our noses are basically on the table, just huffing it. Let it happen. We get a couple of weeks a year. CitizenCon's going to come. We're all going to come back down to reality and realize that things aren't as far along as we thought they were. And we start over. Let's just have these 2 weeks and be fun about it. I'm mostly joking, by the way, folks. It's okay. Sorry, I was just getting scolded by my manager for saying anything negative about Star Citizen. Sorry. Apologies, Mrs. Tomato. All right. Let's continue on from art. Let's do some audio, yeah? See, the cutter's 45. A cool $45. That's right, folks. You can buy a cutter with Star Citizen for about the price of a two-person order at Five Guys. We went back to Five Guys recently. I'm a little bitter about how much their prices have gone up since we left. Hey, JDN, welcome back. No event schedule for SitCon yet. I was hoping we'd get it today. All right, on the audio side of things, not much. Last month, the audio focused on Pyro, of course, ensuring all essential sound effects were implemented. They also finished tasks for several upcoming ships and are actively working on the new audio thruster and component system. Oh, I want to hear about that. Alongside essential bug fixes, the audio code team refined the recently introduced resonance tech and continued developing the Walla system. So resonance tech is what they focused on for, I think, an entire episode of one of those whatchamacallit majigabuddies, the Inside Star Citizen recently, where they went over audio. They talked about resonance tech, which I don't think they talked about. What I don't think they talked about was the new audio thruster and component system. Did I miss that? Can somebody confirm? Am I behind? Because one of the... No, I want to see the place in the game that's lacking the most in terms of audio has got to be thrusters, right? I feel like it could be weapons. But the thrusters are missing so much. Power-up noises, malfunctioning noises, noise to tell you that they're stressed out and working hard. Some of them have it to an extent, but like they could be better. I feel like maybe they're talking about the component system. They're talking about like how components make noise when they're powering up and stuff like that. How to turn tomato into ketchup, add salt. You're gonna need a little bit of vinegar in there too. You gotta moisten me up. Give me the oil. Lacking in general. They could do with some VFX as well. So that's audio. We're going to skip community here and get on to some of the more fun stuff. Economy engine, and then finally the features section, which is always Tons of fun. We always got good footage coming up for that. For anybody who is new to this, we're far enough in that people probably have joined. This is a very in-depth look at the monthly progress Star Citizen makes. Maybe you follow Star Citizen lightly. Maybe you follow it a lot. Maybe you read these yourself. I try to add additional context. I've got files. We've got files and files and files of videos from every Inside Star Citizen over the past several years. So I try to link this back to footage and stuff that they've shown us in the past to kind of give that extra touch of context to what they're talking about. We also just kind of take questions and chat about the stuff going on. So if you like more in-depth coverage of Star Citizen, consider subscribing. Maybe like the stream. Stick around a little bit. We're also giving away some stuff. So we've got a giveaway running for 2 prizes. One is a pink Nomad with a pink hovercraft, and the other is a pink Arrow. My wife is doing a little pink giveaway. So if you want to win, check out our giveaway page. Use your command on Twitch to go ahead and redeem some points for a giveaway entry and see what else you can do with exclamation point giveaway. But, we're pretty chill here. We're just doing some stuff, getting ready for CitizenCon, going over Star Citizen, of course. The audio section mentioned the Wallace system. Any idea what it is? No, I don't recognize the Wallace section. Wallace system. A new tool, I'm guessing. Maybe it's the way that the room system affects audio. Two new variants of an existing vehicle were completed too. That's in the August report. Interesting. Homefronts, what's up? Does the giveaway come with pink sauce? Nah, that requires additional purchases. Wallace's solar system, isn't it? I mean, it's the moon. Is it also a solar system? Sometimes they name their tools after things. But they didn't capitalize it, so I don't think they're talking about the actual star system called Walla, if that is a system. Watching some hover mod video. No problem, Esqueto. Welcome. We're just getting into economy. Who doesn't like economy? The economy team set up shops at 3 jump point stations to provide the Hull C and other cargo ships with additional trade routes. They also worked on rebalancing commodity trading in Stanton and Pyro as part of a larger initiative to improve the gameplay experience for haulers and traders. Okay, this is really nice to start to see some dedicated news about stuff related to trade. They've almost never specifically talked about trade in the past, and it's now becoming a monthly thing. That's a pretty big shift. We've talked about cargo hauling becoming a focus for them when the raft came in, and we thought the cargo refactor was happening when the cargo refactor first started, and we thought this kind of stuff would be happening yet again. Now that the Hull C is in, they're changing up the way that cargo is loaded, and they're talking about trade routes specifically. This is a good sign. Also interesting, so they have added these jump points recently. Many of you may have seen them. We have visited one in the PU. We've actually visited 2 now in the PTU. We've gone to both the Terra jump point, which you can see here. Not great video footage, but it is there. This is what the Terra jump point looks like from fairly far away. And we've gone to the Pyro jump point, which you can see here in all its broken glory. And these jump points have been added in 3.21, not really as anything other than a location, but they do have space stations there. And what they're saying is that they're adding these space stations as additional trade routes because really the Hull C can only trade between 3 stations right now. So this is good attention to detail. I feel like that means that they're not just going to sit on this and wait for another major update somewhere in the future. They're going to keep doing this every patch. They're going to give us kind of changes to the hauling and trading gameplay. We'll see if that sticks true, though. I was thinking earlier today about how it would work, how this gameplay would work. Because if you look at these different jump points, Pyro has like 4 or 5 space stations, I think, separate space stations around its jump point, whereas Terra has like 30. And I was thinking what they might end up doing for these trade missions is, say, if a company does trade between 2 systems often, instead of doing trade from one planet in one system to another planet in another system, they might just do trade routes from one planet in one system to the space station in the jump point in the other system, right? So like you take your whole C, you pick up from Stanton, or you pick up from Terra, you jump through the jump point, you drop the stuff off at the space station at the jump point in Terra, then you fly back through. That would explain why there's so many buildings in a place like Terra's jump point, because they don't actually drive all the way through. They drop them off there as sort of like a midpoint, a sort of, I don't know, like a stop-off location. It would explain why there's so many buildings there. It'd probably make more missions, but we'll have to see as they keep talking about this where they're going to go with it. Video for a cutter variant leaks. Oh, I see. Really glad you go into depth on these and provide the extra context. Lately, I've been working a lot more on my main job and haven't been able to follow progress as much. Really helps. Cheers. No problem, gentlemen. Glad to help those who don't have the time to sit here and obsess over Star Citizen for 6 hours a day. I will take that load off of you. It can be both fun and miserable. No, I really enjoy it. I love this game. More on the economy team. They supported other teams, such as character art and interactables. That's weird. With pricing for new player equipment. Okay, not so weird. Lastly, the tool that extracts live game data to help inform the profitability of various gameplay loops and assist in balancing was completed. That's good. That's just going to help them continue to balance out missions and gameplay so that we're all making kind of the same amount of money, but maybe a little bit different. Also, the fact that they are pricing out player equipment means that there's at least some thought going into what things cost. So maybe we can start to lend some reputability to the economy, like money flow. Do you think you will be able to fly through the jump point in a Gladius? Yeah, Gladius has a jump drive. Do you need to use the new money for that cutter starter pack, or can you get the discount by melting your full price cutter? I don't know. Discounts might be a cash thing. Yeah, you need a jump drive to go between systems. I'm pretty sure the Gladius has one, but I might be wrong. Okay, on to the engine section. This is a little bit drier, so I'll go through this one a little bit faster, but anything that's super interesting we'll stop for. Now, throughout September, a large portion of the core engine, physics, and entity team's focus was on release support. This included optimizing code, looking into server-side memory consumption, and fixing memory leaks. Memory leaks have been messing me up. These improvements will appear in public releases over the next few months. Again, this is the kind of stuff that happens when they get to a new code base. Additionally, the core tech teams supported the Hull C and its unique technical requirements. Besides release work, the teams rolled out StarBuild, the custom code build system, and updated Visual Studio to version 2022. God, that must suck. I hate updating stuff. On the renderer, transitions toward the final version of Gen 12 continued. This included enabling the render graph, which can utilize the GPU better with less CPU cost. This, I wonder if this is something that'll happen for 321. The final version of Gen 12. For all those who are a little bit newer, or maybe haven't heard of Gen 12, this is their rendering engine. There was a post I got on YouTube earlier. I saw it this morning. And somebody said, gosh, what did they say? They said something that kind of can be summarized basically as this game is going to be outdated graphically by 2025. And I'm like, this is what people have been saying since 2017, right? People have been saying that space games are going to be coming out and they're going to outdate Star Citizen. And continuously that doesn't happen. Starfield came out and like even Starfield looks great. It does. But in no way makes me think, Star Citizen's in trouble. Like, even if you're using a different sort of art style, which is likely what's going to happen for any game that's looking better than Star Citizen, there's still the idea of the detail that goes into a game with this sort of scale. So outside of the graphics discussion, I don't think it's going to be outdated anytime soon. But if we're talking about just straight graphics, in 2 years' time, the amount of stuff, like we don't even have the final rendering engine. That's a big deal. They haven't been able to do the things that make a game look good. They've been running on the most basic form of rendering this game for us. Hell, they finished Gen 12 and within a year we got HDR support. We're about to talk about ray tracing and global illumination that they're about to try and put into the live build when we get down here to the lighting section. And on top of that, they own the entirety of the engine, so they can continue to add new things as those technologies develop. More types of global illumination, DLSS, FSR, all these things are like... It's just crazy, dude. The comments that you get about things that are they don't take much thought to understand. Why would it be outdated in 2 years' time? We don't get to download the full texture pack? Do we really? Starfield did have to account for console. SC does not. That is true. That's a very good point, Boatloads. And honestly, I feel like that's something that these people should take into account when they say that. A game that's not constrained by consoles probably won't be outdated in 2 years when consoles haven't been updated. We're going to have to wait for the next consoles to reach higher levels, I would imagine. Have I already read this? I have not. I skimmed it briefly. Actually, yeah. Where did I see that? Because... Oh, you know what it was? I skimmed this briefly to find a good thumbnail. So I did see that, yeah. Tell me where another space sim is. I mean, there are good space sims out there. Everspace is good fun. X4 is awesome. No Man's Sky is amazing for exploration. Elite Dangerous is still good fun if you like the game that it was when they stopped kind of updating it. There's plenty of fun space sims. None of them are graphically outdating this game. Without proper implementation, it'll cause worse performance even if it looks better. That's the beauty of this. They have all the time in the world to make sure the implementation is correct, right? They're not on some deadline where they have to get ray tracing working by launch next year. They're on the deadline of basically how much can we piss off our backers and not put ray tracing into the game and continue to work on it until it's actually functional. And the answer for that is probably a long time, because ray tracing is not why most people are here. Now, that's why when they talk about the Gen 12 renderer and the level it's reaching right now, it's good to remember that. This game is graphically nowhere near its final form. We got a long way to go. Let's see. Furthermore, the streaming system received improvements. We no longer need to maintain a separate code path and instead update all our objects from within the rendering callback. This reduces code complexity as we only need to maintain a single code path moving forward and reduces memory consumption as well. I don't know what that really means, but reducing memory consumption is a good thing. Good thing in my opinion. Analog, thank you for the sub on Twitch. Appreciate your support. Getting another raffle started, folks. Get some points over on Twitch, ! Join. You can use those points to redeem other things in the near future. Space Engineers is cool too. It'll be nice when CIG starts delivering on the backlog of promised features and people can't argue it's a scam. Loved when that point hit for DayZ. We've hit that point a lot, Sean. I remember there was a point when people were saying it was a scam because you couldn't buy ships in game. in the defense of that, I do think that not being able to buy ships in-game was a huge hit against the game, and most people should not have touched it before that. But then they got to that point. You could buy ships in-game, you could rent ships. Suddenly, it's not so much about that. It's about the time taken. I don't think it will ever not be about that. I think at this point, we've already seen enough features added that at least it's not a scam. I think from here on, they're only going to prove further out that they're competent, you know? Like, they've proven that there's a game being made. Now they need to prove they can make it. And once we get some of those more advanced features you're talking about, I do think that people's arguments will have less water, but man, you know they'll still be there. Makes sense to pick CryEngine as starting point for you. One of the most beautiful looking engines. Logic and features will be timeless anyway. That's an interesting discussion. I don't know how I feel about it. The idea of picking the right game engine is a really big one, and actually a big conversation in the gaming community right now. I'm not sure what they should have done. Hype Monkey, thank you for getting another raffle started, though. Appreciate you. You know what it looks like? It looks like Stream Elements is not getting Nightbot to start the raffle. I think Nightbot is not in Twitch chat anymore. And that's what's going on. Maybe. Is it? Is Nightbot in Twitch chat? It looks like Stream Elements is saying raffle, but Nightbot is not saying it back. So it's not starting it. Not sure how that happens. If Nightbot knows what it's good for, it'll fall in line. It'll do its job if it wants to remain on the job. Okay, let's continue in the engine section here. The team added more strict debug modes and high-level checks for the ECUS code to detect and report potential race conditions earlier. Come on, CIG. All right, try. Well, somebody's gonna have to sub, so we'll see if it works next time somebody subs. CIG is really starting to bring race into the conversation. Can you guys believe it? Potential race conditions, really, CIG? Totally kidding. It's not. I feel like I don't have to say I'm kidding, but just in case. Also, on the entity side things, more strict checks were added to entity access functions to ensure that they only happen on threads where it's permitted. Whatever that might mean. Yo, Sean, thank you for the raffle there. It looks like it still didn't work. Where is Nightbot? We should see Stream Elements replying to say that a raffle has started and start a countdown. We'll have to see if maybe Nightbot doesn't have mod permissions on Twitch. We'll try to fix this off stream. But for now, I'll just type in sraffle so that it at least starts for you guys. There we go. Yeah, see, there's Nightbot. So Nightbot definitely is on the stream. It's just not necessarily getting triggered by Stream Elements. Maybe see if the custom command on Nightbot is set to... Yeah, that's weird. Because it did respond to me. It just didn't respond to Stream Elements. We'll have to see why that is. I'm not sure why that might be a thing. Maybe it's set to ignore Stream Elements. Okay, anyways, let's keep going. For the editor, time was spent enabling entity streaming code to allow the designers to work with the PU's significant amount of content more easily. This was done last month as the team first had to get the foundation of streaming working. The editor also has more complexity than the pure game, as object can also be modified. That whole idea of needing to get the game working with more content is the entire problem that calls for server meshing. The whole thing they're trying to solve here is just making sure the game can, like, hold itself up, which I think is kind of funny. The whole game, everybody keeps complaining about the game won't get built, And it's all because they can't get, like, they have to get that literal first layer built that can hold the game up, because there's just so much they're trying to stuff into the game. The fact that it's taken 10 years is another conversation entirely. Anywhere near graphically complete. What does that say for the odds of Squadron release date announcement at SitCon? I think that Squadron will launch at a different level of graphics than Star Citizen will. So I do think that whatever, like, there is a certain level of graphic polish they need to reach by next year for Star Citizen, but I don't think that's where it will end. I think it will continue to grow from there. Race Edition occurs when two threads access a shared variable at the same time. The first thread reads the variable and the second reads the same value from the variable. Multi-threading means another thread could have changed the value in your variable between commands. Somebody had a good example there. Arithmetic. I like that. A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals A plus B. But by the time you calculate C, the values of A and B might have changed. Right. So it's kind of like the whole idea of authority. Who has right authority? Some textures are already outdated. Those could be fixed. As long as it's not the engine that's outdated, right? For the editor, time was spent enabling entity streaming code. Did I already say this? I did. On the physics side, the team is currently adding numerous improvements to the simulation, which will be revealed soon. What does that mean? That's so ambiguous. Yeah, on physics, we've done some stuff. We'll show you soon. Thank you. See, this is more CitizenCon bait. If we get more cloth physics at CitizenCon, I'm gonna rip my hair out. Although a Maelstrom demo would be really nice to see. Finally, the engine teams supported the network team on server meshing and worked with the locations teams to make more efficient use of low-level engine resources. Love the low levels. All about that base. Yeah, give us the cloth. All right, we finally made it, folks, to features, the best part of the monthly report. Here's the real juice. This is what you guys will be seeing soon, whenever it happens, at some point. Alongside squashing a significant number of bugs for Alpha 3.20, many of the features worked on this year received a second pass to improve quality and feel. For example, the slide mechanic saw updated velocity curves with steeper initial acceleration alongside improved screen effects. So, this is a second pass on sliding. We didn't get the first pass. Could mean a few things. What I'm going to choose to take it for my head lore is that the first pass they did was implementing it into Squadron 42, and then they played with it and tested it, and now the features team has done their second pass to make it polished for the PU. So this is something I'm hoping we're going to see in 3.21, but no word here on what they're waiting for to implement it. We can't slide. No, we can't yet. They haven't implemented this, but they're doing a polish pass on it already. Hello, Sean. Squadron will be more cinematic than Star Citizen, and most of the improvements made for Squadron are probably not yet ported over. Right? Haven't played yet, unfortunately, but I can totally see the appeal. Only complaint I really see is that if it can become a menu scroller later game. Are you talking about Starfield? Yeah, okay, you guys are talking about Starfield. So this is interesting that they're doing a second pass on sliding before we've even seen it, even in ISC. For the new prone animation motion set, work was done to stabilize the player character's wrists in first-person view. Some initial updates were made, though the team now has a longer-term plan to further improve the visuals. So Prone is getting a big update as well, and it sounds like it's not even close to coming. But apparently it's a second pass on it. Maybe that's unrelated to the previous paragraph. But Prone is getting an update. And I know they're using Prone animations for our 0G EVA movement, so I guess that's probably related. Okay, moving on to gameplay features. The EUPU team continued working towards the release of the ship tractor beam, including an update to the general salvage HUD to allow it to show tractor beam information. That is still a work in progress, though. Honestly, this is the new HUD, and it looks great compared to the old one. The HUD, it looks a little bit more like it's game ready. I'm still not super keen. I think it's the color blue, honestly, that they use that I'm not super crazy about. But one thing that really gets me with a HUD is not a monochrome setup. Seeing greens and reds and blues and maybe yellows and stuff, oh god, it's so much more pleasing to look at. So this looks better. You know, the shapes and the little motifs look a little bit more polished. There's more detail. There's, I think, the shapes themselves look better shaped, if that makes sense. And it's a bit more informative. I'm guessing these bars, yeah, these are distance, so this is just telling you how far you can be. Not sure why you would need 2 bars for either laser since they're so close, but who knows? Maybe we'll have situations where they're not. It gives you some good information, like how much stuff you're sucking up from that one spot. I'm not sure how I feel about this meter as it is. I've always found it a little bit... I think the words would be helpful after I need it, rather than before. Like, I'd prefer a better AR, like an augmented reality overlay that better shows me where the hull is that I can be scraping. You know what I mean? So, we'll see if they do improve that or they do anything with that. Maybe use assigned distance fields, I don't know. But this looks decent. I don't see where the tractor beam distance would be. Maybe that's what these bars are for. Right? Maybe that's to show how your tractor beam is working. I'm not sure, but they did say that work in progress to show which tractor beam you're using. Oh, here we go. It's up here. Placeholder. You got a little crane there. Several important bug fixes were also made for Alpha 3.20. This included fixed instability problems with the server performance and adding a temporary fix to the speed of hull scraping. Okay. And the team also made significant progress on structural salvage, formerly munching. Thank God they're changing the name from munching. I didn't truly enjoy referring to it that way. They also continued their ongoing work on the resource network. That's a big one. We're going to talk about that one in a second. Y'all give me like 2 minutes. I will be right back. And then we'll jump into resource network, what we can expect from that. And we'll move on to features on the mission side. Be right back. Enjoy the music. All right. What are you guys talking about munching? Yum, 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 yum. I think there's a soundbite on Discord. Hold on, I think I can find it. This is a, one of our mods, good old Dewstorm. He takes things that I say in the stream and turns them into little sound bites so that we can play them, I guess, while we're on Discord in sound parts together. And there are some funny ones. Here we go. Yeah, this one. No, that's not. Nom, 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 nom. So we have our own munching sound bite. It's terrible. You guys are ridiculous. All right, so now it's called structural salvage, so get over it. Enough. I wonder if they changed that because of all the jokes. That would actually be very funny. I'm definitely going to ask one of them that at CitizenCon. Hey, that's one to write down on our thing for interviews. Did you guys change the name of ship munching because of all the munching jokes? Or hull stripping? Do you think they'll change hull stripping now too? So we won't be munching and stripping anymore? Been enjoying your content for a while now, first time catching the stream. Thanks for dropping by, Create Space. If you guys are watching this after the fact, we do, obviously, people jump in all the time and say that they've finally gotten to hop in to see live. Please do. Please come join us. Honestly, it gets better the deeper you go. You would think it would get worse, but Star Citizen community is actually quite fun. I keep talking about Discord, but that's where it all really goes down. We've got a lot of different channels there that are about more than just Star Citizen, but the Star Citizen discussion there is, in my opinion, up to the quality of Reddit without having to deal with the same selection of people, which I enjoy. But thanks for coming along. I hope you're enjoying it. Calikupa. Sure, it's stating the obvious, but all of the lackluster content announced lately, like last week's ISC and most likely this week's, as well as obvious filler before huge announcements at SitCon. I've gotta disagree. I don't remember what last week's ISC actually was, so maybe you're right there. But this week's ISC is a sprint report. And that's so important. Sprint reports are super key, because besides the monthly report, sprint reports give us the best idea of what's going on. Actually, one of my biggest problems with this year has been the lack of sprint reports. They've always been probably a once a month kind of thing, but this year we've only had one, and because of that, we don't know what's going on with things like this hull munching. I mean, we know a little bit. We don't know what's going on with the UI or the refining gameplay or the tractor beam gameplay. Like, all that kind of stuff's locked behind sprint reports, so I'm glad we're getting one now. Though that does mean that it might not be as exciting of one because, like you said, we've got CitizenCon coming up. What's the outro song on my podcast? What's it called? Midnight Tokyo. Yes, I think I've actually got that here. The last song on my podcast is it this one? Is it? No. This is what is this from? Is this on the podcast? No, I thought it was that other song. The one with that sound clip. God, I'm getting so distracted. Is it this one? No. Is it this one? No. Man, I know it was here somewhere. Here it is. This is it. It's called Fly Up High by Flint. See, I knew we could figure that out. That wasn't... honestly, I actually was thinking, am I about to go on like a 10-minute tangent? I'm glad we found that quick. Let's get back to the Star Citizen. Yes, stay focused. I am so sorry, guys. Let's get back to features here. So several important bugs were fixed. Several important bug fixes were made for Alpha 3.20. You guys can't say you don't do that at work. Come on. This included fixing instability problems with server performance and adding a temporary fix to the speed of hull scraping. Okay, I think we actually already went over that. Yeah, we were going to go over the resource network. So this is engineering gameplay. This is actually one of those things that I think we would probably hear more about if we were in the... Oh, I know you're kidding, George. All good. If we were getting more sprint reports, we would know more about the resource network. For anybody who's wondering what this is, I'll jog your memory with the ISC about it. And the thing about this one is, like, if you think about it, the resource network is kind of the most wide-reaching gameplay in the entire game. Like, you have your map and like your inventory system and weapons. Those are all like systems everybody uses. But in terms of actual gameplay everybody takes part in, like mining or salvage or refining or stuff like that, it's the engineering that is the widest reaching. So this is probably one that we want to hear the most about. And these are the kinds of footage you'll probably remember from this episode. This is what defines how your ship runs. Like, straight up, whether or not you can get into a fight and get out of a fight and survive. Whether you can land on a planet or not. Whether your ship is in working order. Whether you can fire weapons. Like, whether your life support works is all dependent on this engineering system on Resource Network. We haven't actually seen the gameplay. We've only seen visual representations. I think this is probably a big part of CitizenCon. Because last year's CitizenCon, they talked about, this. They showed us their sort of debug version of this and their ideas behind it. Like, they actually showed us it functioning in the engine, but not really the gameplay. I think showing us the actual gameplay here is going to be one of the big focuses of CitizenCon, probably one of their heavy-hitting panels. Because this is, like I said, everybody is going to have to know this. I mean, you won't have to master this by any means, not like you're not going to be an engineer yourself, but if you want to repair something, if you want to change out your components, if you want to get other people on board your ship, that's all going to be linked through this system. So we'll see what they have to say about it at CitizenCon, but as you can see here with how much it got mentioned on this monthly report, it's kind of indicative of the entire year communication on it. Ship rolls to the feature list. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess I included that engineering. I'll just break out all the different parts of engineering for that list. That's going to be a big bingo card. By the way, if you guys want to take part in CitizenCon Bingo, join us on Discord. Link is down below, or !Discord. And make sure to grab the Star Citizen rule. It'll be really easy. It walks you through the whole thing. Just click on Star Citizen. It asks you what game you're interested in. And we will tag all the Star Citizen folks. We'll distribute a little bingo card with all the different things you might see. And we'll see how close we can get. In fact, we should probably start a thread so that we can get more inputs from you guys as well. CitizenCon is in 2 weeks' time? 15 days? Starts on the 21st. Alright, anyways, that's Resource Network. Let's continue. Meet your... That was the sound of my brain trying to read the words features and mission at the same time. I said meatures. Oh, God. Why did you think it was November? They have another event in November called IAE. Okay, let's try that again. What is meatures, dude? Mission features. They continued their work on modularizing the new player experience. That's good. Last month, New Babbage saw its first working version with the team currently focusing on polish. Put that on check. We've been saying it since they started talking about the new player experience going to other cities. New Babbage was probably their next location for it because the branding team really was putting their stuff into that. So The next place for people to start that is going to be more comfortable and easy for a new player is going to be New Babbage, which is great because that's probably the best place anyways. Yeah, New Babbage is probably the safest regarding PvE combat. PvP is pretty dangerous. Meechers fishing. Yeah, I got a little bit too much maize. I'm more of a widow kind of guy. Let's see. That's actually good to hear. I'm glad the new player experience is spreading out. I'm guessing that the actual official new player start place is going to be in Terra. Various mission content was also worked on, including the reactivation of the Crusader platform missions, which tentatively passed its go no-go review. We did that on the stream yesterday. We ran a couple of those missions. They were broken, but the missions themselves seem solid. It's basically a bunker mission, but in a floating city. Instead of 2 floors, you have 3. That's about the only difference. I think those missions will be a lot different when the NPCs can start to get on the roof and shoot at your ship. And probably when we get NPCs outside of the actual buildings. The one thing I do like about these new building missions is that, like, you can land on the pad and immediately engage the enemy. Instead of going in a bunker, getting to the top of an elevator, everybody checks themselves and make sure they've got everything they need. You're like straight into the action, which kind of changes the flow of the event and highlights more the fact that you're coming out of a spaceship as opposed to just walking up to the mission. I don't know if that makes a ton of sense, but I think a mission feels different if you enter it by exiting a ship. Anyways, the Steel Evidence mission passed a go no-go and has been activated for Alpha 3.21, while the design for a courier version of the Steal and Recover cargo mission moved into production. So this one I think is in. Somebody was saying they did that, and it was pretty fun at Security Post Korea. But this one, we still don't know too much about. They talked about this, I think, during a roadmap roundup recently. This is a new type of mission that's kind of building on top of the cargo refactor gameplay going on. A courier version is what they said they would be doing until they could expand further on the cargo in the other direction. So that's nice. Oh my god. Darth Vader. Wow. You always look forward to the content. Fantastic job. Keep it up. First time catching you live and wanted to reward you for your hard work. You deserve every penny. Just wanted to let you know you're appreciated. Wow. I got to agree with NJO. That is the real Vader. Thank you for that super chat. That is a ton of support. And I'm glad you got to catch the live stream. Thanks so much. Glad you enjoy the content. We got a lot of stuff coming this month. Oh, my friends, it's October. It's finally the more exciting times again. Thanks so much for that, though. Not very Sith-like. I don't know. I feel like the Sith dabble in money. I guess it's more Trade Federation of him. This is like early Vader. This is like Vader before Vader became Vader and ended the Trade Federation. It's like Anakin Vader. But like right then when he was still burning in the lava. Not to say you're burning in lava. That's okay. I have nothing against you. That's... I'm sorry, I'll end on this tangent. I've been studying my Star Wars knowledge lately. All right, back to Star Citizen once again. I skipped a part here, I believe. Blockade Runner progressed through development following internal playtests and feedback. This is another mission going on. This is actually a spoilers. I'm sorry, guys. I'm very sorry. I keep forgetting that's something that hasn't been revealed every year for the last 5 decades. So Blockade Runner is a new dynamic event for those who haven't heard. It's replacing Ninetales Lockdown, that dynamic event you've never heard of or taken part in. Not to, nothing against the people who made Ninetales Lockdown. I just don't think it was fitting for how the game plays right now. So this is supposed to be something that's a little bit more it uses the game better. This is actually a really nice one because it basically just tells you, hey, go haul some cargo while you're in danger, which is the whole point of a dynamic event. It's just like bring people together to do the stuff that's already in game. That's how Xenothreat is successful. That's how Jumptown is successful. And I think Blockade Runner will probably be successful because of it. A not dynamic event, right? They're starting to call them global events, which I think is a bit more fitting. That's probably what they're going to keep calling them until they get triggered by the actual game. Because it seems like a dynamic event is something more like what happens at Korea than what happens at Jumptown. Further polish was made on Data Heist, including internal playtests in preparation for its debut. Siege of Orison 1.1 entered the QATR phase, where it will be tested for stability and performance issues ahead of future activation. QATR phase is essentially done. I believe this is quality. I'm guessing that's what the QA part is. This is like, I think Siege of Orison 1.1 will probably be in Star Citizen 3.21. It's a lot of numbers. Kawaku was in here earlier. DJ Bunton was... Actually, no. Quaco on Twitch, yeah. He was in here yesterday just talking about Siege of Orison 1.1. This will probably have some nice quality of life improvements for arguably the best FPS content in the game. Data Heist is another big mission that they're working on. There's actually a Inside Star Citizen about all of these missions I'm talking about. This one. Oh, I thought you said this was a filler content. I think this is actually really good Inside Star Citizen. I would go check this out if you're interested in these content missions I'm talking about. These are like the core of the gameplay we're going to be getting over the next year. Besides gameplay itself, this is like where we're going to be headed, mission contract and stuff like that. And it's showing some really good signs, I think, for what they're doing with missions. But that's what all of this is about. It's on the YouTube page. There's also... The team continued to look at and balance the cargo manifest system for bounty and salvage missions, and designs were pitched for long-term reputation goals. Yay! Oh, God, I love to hear that. Give me some reputation. Let's go. Ship Trespass has passed its gate review, and it's approaching a release-ready state. That is great. Ship Trespass, another integral system. I don't really think about too much. Honestly, I didn't think of it as that big a system when they were first talking about it. But I guess this is one of those systems that's going to have a lot of knock-on effects. Now that they've fixed Ship Trespass, it probably makes it easier for them to work on ship roles, assigning roles and stuff like that. So, as much as I really don't think Ship Trespass changes my gameplay all that much, I'm interested in seeing where it goes. These cargo manifest system for bounty and salvage missions, my friends... Let me tell you, y'all saw it. We did it on stream a couple of weeks ago. I talked about it in one of my recent videos. And if you're in GII, you've probably seen this event popping up every week over the last month. These cargo manifest changes are a game changer. They make so much money. If you get high-level bounties, not only do you get to go and do some awesome multi-crew combat missions, after that's done, you can go out and tractor beams, open up the cargo the cargo bay, and start stripping the ship of super valuable cargo that you can go sell for a ton of extra money. So you're getting reputation, combat gameplay, payment for a bounty, cargo hauling gameplay, and payment for the cargo. It's like a win-win-win-win. It's really good. I would try out these new bounty missions, or any bounty mission really, and try to check out the cargo bays of the ships that you kill, see if they've got anything good. Take it and sell it. Make some money. It just gets easier and easier to make money in this game. You're new to the game. You are watching all the videos related to Star Citizen. There are a lot. For such a niche game, there's a lot of Star Citizen coverage on YouTube. Is Pyro an entire star system? Yes. It's, yes. Yes and yes. It's actually a way bigger star system than Stanton. Still waiting for human trafficking gameplay, they promised. That's one way to put it. All right. Where were we? Features on the vehicle side. In September, the vehicle gameplay team focused on bug fixing and quality of life support for Alpha 3.20. The flight, balance, health, and stability of some ships were tweaked to improve overall balance too. Okay. It's interesting that they continue to balance ships. I wonder how much they focus on that. The team also provided feature support for the resource network, allowing items placed inside interior object containers to be connected to the network, such as doors and lights. Man, I want to get a progress update on the resource network. This feels like something I would have expected earlier, but I just don't know where it would fit into their process of making these features. But this is a really important thing. One of the big things that stopped us from being able to ever interact with any items at all was that the objects that were on the inside of the ship were actually on the outside of the ship. Let me see if I can find that. Objects on the inside of the ship. If I can find that quote. They essentially would be attached to the outside of the ship. So when you were on the inside of the ship, you couldn't interact with them because technically they were on the outside. It's a weird one, but John Crew explained it. And let's see. No, I don't think I would find it. But he said it at some point. I don't know. It's on video somewhere. Essentially, they've always had this problem where like the components were connected to the outside of the ship, and that's why we could never move the components. They figured that out earlier this year, or at least finished figuring it out earlier this year, and that's why we can now move all that stuff. But on top of that, it can connect to the network. So ships are now no longer just a spaceship. It's like a network of actual circuits and pipes with resources moving through them. And they're getting physical components that we can pick up and move with our tractor beams to be able to interact with that system. A lot like Satisfactory, if you've played that, like, or I guess No Man's Sky or Astroneer. It's really a lot of different sci-fi games that run on a system like that. The difference being obviously that this one is connected to spaceships that you can walk around in, which is pretty fun. It's also something that's going to be connected to cities and outposts and underground facilities and all that stuff too. So this is like a universal system. It's not proprietary to ships or something like that. All right. Moving on to graphics, VFX programming, and Planet Tech. In September, the graphics team progressed with several in-development features. For example, the new water simulation and rendering systems now have their fundamental building blocks complete and are currently being balanced to ensure they look good under the game's huge variety of conditions. The water simulation is a funny one to me. It makes sense. If you go back to when the rivers were first introduced to the game, and you looked at almost any comment whatsoever, it was commenting on how bad the water looked even though we had rivers. At the same time, if you asked people if you should have water detail in a space sim, most of them would probably say no. So it's a lose-lose situation. They decided to give it detail. That's the Star Citizen way. But they're going further, and they're talking about like ships crashing into water, creating waves, and like just all this stuff. There's boats apparently in Squadron 42. I imagine they'll at some point make them to Star Citizen. So the water simulation is always kind of funny to me, but it's been ongoing pretty heavily this year. And I think it's something that I should add that to the list. I think that's something that we might see at CitizenCon. Not as like a panel or anything, but just something that they'll want to draw attention to. Oh yeah, like the tree, right? In, what was that, 2020, in 2019, when Chris was like, Glenn, walk over to the window, look at the tree. Glenn, look at the tree. Look at the tree, Glenn, do it. We'll get that, but with the water. Oh God, I love that. I love the directing on stage. What a tradition. What was the other thing that you said we should add to ship rolls? So you can create tsunami soon? Hey, if you find yourself a bangle, maybe. Oh, did that command just work? Somebody just subbed. It did not work. Nice. Well, Ron Burgundy, thank you so much for the sub. I appreciate you. We will get that raffle started. 8 months on Twitch and 4 months on YouTube, my friend. Both? Wow. Thank you. May your tomatoes be juicy and red. Has CIG talked about a possible need for traffic control at jump gates? They haven't talked about it, but I'm betting it'll be a thing. Yeah. They do it at space stations. There's going to be base building in this game, but it's a long ways out. Didn't realize how much you cared about those tiny details until you played Starfield and your character's foot didn't conform to the terrain. It's noticeable. Once you've seen it, it's really hard not to notice it when you don't see it. They call it the new member. I did not see a new member. Is there a new member? Oh, yeah, Ron Burgundy, you did it on both YouTube and Twitch. I only saw the Twitch one. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. I'm the only tomato you like. Not gonna lie, I'm not huge about tomatoes either. I like tomatoes in things. I like pizza. I like caprese salad. Sometimes I like a Bloody Mary. But I'm allergic to tomatoes, so, you know. Alright. Can we talk about the galaxy? It's not in the monthly report. I wish it was. Going back to graphics development, the R&D on global illumination was merged into the main branch to see it working across various PU locations. This is crazy. This is wild to me. They're just putting R&D into the main branch. I mean, I don't think that means it's coming anytime soon, since they're still calling it R&D. Like, they haven't even left research and development and started to turn it into something that, I mean, I guess, I don't know if it'd ever show up in the engine part. Maybe it'd always be in the graphics section. The fact that they're merging it into the main branch, though, like, that basically means that global illumination is at a stage that they're confident about it enough as maybe the replication layer separation. So we could see global illumination in Star Citizen actually pretty soon, maybe within the next year. Not something I really expected this early, but it makes sense given they probably wanted it in Squadron 42. They do say a lot of work remains, including major aspects like moving zones, characters, and optimization. So it's not coming in the immediate future, but like it's much closer than I thought. What does global illumination do? It unlocks a lot of different lighting opportunities. I'm not the best person to ask about this stuff. I'm sure there's plenty of people in chat who know a lot more about this than I do. But the most, I think, obvious and attention-grabbing thing that is associated with global illumination is ray tracing. Essentially, the ability to actually trace the path of lighting in games or digital environments so that it's better simulated in real time. It also allows for other things, but I don't know much about those other things. But when people say things like, oh, this is graphically outdated, oh, this is going to fall behind because of graphics, global illumination is one of those things that is a very big stop on a statement like that, because it goes beyond just textures or design. It attacks the lighting, and lighting is the thing that has been most untapped in games to make better graphics. Like, we got to a point where we're now doing real graphics. You don't see huge jumps. Compare the leaps from 2005 to 2015 in graphics, right? Or like 2010 to 2020. We were advancing so much more in graphics compared to, say, 2015 to now. So the next way to go about it is lighting. Global illumination is kind of at the forefront of that. And that they're getting it into this game at this stage is really good news for the game going forward graphically, I think. Different types and intensities of lights and how those lights interact with different materials and meshes. Sounds like you need to buy an RTX 5080 Ti soon. Maybe they won't use... I mean, it's not going to be... who knows what kind of solution they'll use for ray tracing. Maybe it won't be hardware bound. To an extent. I'm sure there's something that you need on your hardware to run with global illumination advancements. Light works like in real life, so it bounces and you get better looking colors and lighting. Right. I don't have to do everything by hand. What are the features planned for SC as of now? That's a lot. Like, I have a few videos that go into that. I have a playlist on my YouTube channel. If you go and look for Star Citizen State of the Game, I think there should be some videos about that. Don't know about Gaussian splatting. Sounds funny, though. Don't want better graphics, you want better performance. That would be up here, the engine section. These guys who are working on Gen 12 are the ones who are creating the, well, less GPU costs, better GPU, or less CPU costs, better GPU performance, all that kind of stuff. So we do have the performance folks in here that are working on this stuff, but at the same time, they're also making sure that the game is keeping up with the market. Satisfactory was fun. Waiting for more updates. When's the next update? I was supposed to jump in during the last one, and I did not. Work also continued on several longer-term features, such as fire support for entities. It's a longer-term feature? Huh. Interesting. A screen space occlusion effect for gas clouds to increase their lighting detail. That's good. The clouds look beautiful, but inside of the clouds, things could be better. And support for Maelstrom, the new physics destruction system. Hopefully that's being shown off at CitizenCon. Why does SC say Gen 11.1 instead of Gen 12 being active? I don't know. Where does it say that? I didn't even know they called it Gen 11.1. We're still waiting on update 8. Oh, really? Is that still an experimental? Maelstrom is a destruction system. Basically, take procedural damage on... Let's take procedural damage on the machines in Horizon Zero Dawn and apply it to your... Okay, no, that's not a good way to put it. I think it's a combination of a wear and tear and destruction system across all aspects. So it will determine whether or not a bullet can pass through your ship. If it fractures through the armor in your ship or bounces off the shield. And it determines how your ship breaks when it does. If you're losing a wing, if you lose a little fin, if it's just a light that pops off. But it'll also determine if the cargo boxes in your ship hold, if the bullet passes through your ship, does it pass through that box? Does it hit the box and damage it? Does it destroy your cargo? Does it blow up something that is combustible that's in there? Does it damage the components and make them explode? This is like a procedural damage system that affects your components, your ships, your armor, your weapons, your body, your cargo, and other interactable things in the game. It's a really big system. It's one they only just gave a name to this year, but we know that it's been a focus for a long time. This would be, I bet you this would be a good, this would be a good candidate for people calling feature creep. But I can probably find, I think, you know what, I might actually call it a little bit of feature creep, because the thing about this is that we've always known there was going to be ship damage like this. We did not know it was going to be applied to everything else. I don't think I can find it. I have footage that shows... Is this it? File is unsupported. Really? So I've got the file, but I can't look at it. Well, they have a video of procedural damage from way back, like 2014, 2013. In fact, I could probably find it on their YouTube channel. Let's see. Nah, maybe not. Not worth spending that much time looking for. I think I've already spent enough time, but there is a video out there somewhere of sort of like a turret shooting at a Gladius. And it basically just shows how they wanted their procedural damage to work. This is that, but realized in-game. And the thing that we didn't know about it was that it's going to be applied to basically everything in-game. I think that obviously scales up the ambitions of it quite a bit and could be called feature creep. But the damage system itself was definitely always in the plans. You seen that video? Yeah, it's an old one. I have it, I just don't know where. I'm a little disorganized. Alright, in-game branding. Last month, the branding team progressed with navigational signage for the exterior of the underground facilities. So they've moved on from New Babbage, but they have not gone to Lorville or Orison for the new player experience stuff. They also created holograms and assembled navigational signage for an upcoming event, probably IAE. Interactables. The Interactables team progressed with various upcoming content, including a variety of new style props, and supported the ongoing development of the new underground facilities. I like what I'm seeing here. It's like a med pack. This is pretty cool. So, I guess the idea behind this would be for a combat medic. I'm trying to think, is this something that you have to carry in your hands? Because I'm seeing a handle on it. Or could this connect to your back? Could this act as a backpack? Like, is this the medical backpack, maybe? Otherwise, if this takes up your hands, that might be a little bit clunky. You'd basically have to put this down on the ground and then pick the stuff up out of it in order to use that stuff. So if you're moving around with the combat squad, you'd have to put the pack down, pick the stuff up out of it, use it on the person, and then pick this back up, as opposed to just having a vest that can carry all this stuff that you could just grab off your body. So this must be some kind of a resupply kit, right? Connect a bunch to your back like Death Stranding. Looks like there's a handlebar. Yeah, there's some kind of grip there. Medical people get used to carrying a ton of stuff. Yeah, but wouldn't you rather have it be carried on your body than on a pack that you need to carry in your hand? Especially in a game like this. More worried about the amount of green stuff. Usually one vial is enough for most incursions. Why so many then? That's actually also a good point. It feels like a resupply kit of some sort. If this was a Battlefield game, it would make sense. You know, you just like throw it on the ground and people grab stuff as they need. You carry extra supplies in your backpack? Would you take this instead of a backpack? Or would you take this in addition to a backpack? Why would this be better than a backpack? Convenience thing to buy this instead of individual items. I don't know. I am obviously ripping this to death in terms of like a detailed analysis of it. It looks nice. I hope it's useful in game. I'm sure they'll have an explanation for it. I just wonder when we'll ever see it. Modular backpacks. Yeah, this would be very cool if this was a backpack. I would say if it's not a backpack, then you're really going to have to explain to me why I'm giving up one of my hands for it. But let's go to lighting. Lighting continued their work across multiple initiatives. They mainly focused on Pyro, though performance improvements were made across Stanton too. Alright, lighting is working on this stuff now. Okay. Okay. It looks okay. It's a work in progress. So we don't know how far along this is. But let's take a look at some of the shots we've seen of Pyro kind of over the years. Whenever it all loads. See, I brag about having all these video clips to give you guys context, and then my computer can't load them. Making me look bad. Come on. Let's go. Here we go. Okay. So, I'm just going to pull up some of the space station interior shots. Whoops. That was not what I was trying to click on. So here's some of the Pyro shots from before. And admittedly, these are better locations, so they automatically look better. That's actually mainly all I have. What we do have, in abundance, is their own video from it. It's Ruined Station. You don't think this is Ruined Station? They don't really say where this is, but it looks like an interior of a space station. Oh, actually, this might be a derelict. You know what? You're right. This might be a derelict outpost. Just realizing this isn't... I thought this was a large space station interior because of the metal floors, but that's probably just a covering. So instead, we would be looking at footage like... this? Oh, this isn't the same. Yeah, I actually don't think I have footage of any locations like that. So this is kind of a newer thing we're seeing here. Basically the same thing we have in Stanton, but put in Pyro. The focus, though, is the lighting, which, I mean, looks like the lighting in Star Citizen. What will be the dungeons for Star Citizen? These. We're about to get to that. Last month, in locations, the team continued developing a variety of new locations for Pyro. They also worked on several legacy locations in pursuit of maintaining the wider Stanton system and supported the mission feature team on one of their upcoming initiatives. So, the Sandbox and Organics team progressed with several upcoming locations, including Pyro and the new underground facilities. Now, basically, these are two of the archetypes of, or dungeons of Star Citizen. I actually don't think that these outposts will be quite dungeon style. I think what you're probably going to see looked at as the dungeons of Star Citizen are these underground facilities here. Building interiors, which are basically different buildings in the cities that you can go to, and space stations. Derelict space stations, and maybe pirate-controlled space stations. A thing meant to keeping your ship like an emergency kit? Okay. Now that I can get. Basically just a ship-bound med kit. I understand that. Aren't they officially called ruined stations? Derelict makes it sound empty and abandoned, like surface outposts. I think they're actually calling them outlaw stations. They've used the word ruined a couple times. But they've also used the word outlaw, I think. Almost to the point where it feels like they want to avoid the confusion behind Ruin Station, but they also don't care. Let's see if they say it here. Nope. What about here? Nope. Wow, they actually haven't talked about these stations in a little while, huh? Think that ruined station is an actual POI in Pyro? Ruin and ruined? We will have to see. Alrighty. These underground facilities are looking interesting. They're pretty detailed at this point, I guess. Like, looking down here, this looks almost entirely done, I would say. Maybe missing a little bit of detail, but, no, this looks good. And this is an engine. It looks like there's a HUD right here. So this is a player in engine looking at this location. I don't know what to make of all of the outside space. Like the... Maybe it is, but maybe it is art, because this guy is up here. Although that could be an NPC animation. That is an animation in game. But yeah, there's a lot of outdoor space here that could just be site dressing. Like, we might never use this whole area, but I do wonder if they have it there with plans to use it in the future. Ruin is the main station, and then others are just criminal controlled. Hey, come on, Fox. You don't gotta call us criminals. No, but that is the case. Ruin Station is the landing zone of Pyro. They have said ruined stations before, and it's weird. Places to be attacked whilst entering the facility, but the facility has landing pads. These little hangars over here where you can land inside of them. But this might be what I think they're gearing up for are ground-based travel in and out of these. So I think at some point we will be driving from other locations to underground facilities to deliver and do other things like that. Maybe to rescue somebody, like if you rescue someone from a nearby cave, maybe you could just drive them back to the underground facility. I don't know. Looks like art. It could be, but again, there is a HUD up here. I don't know why they would put the HUD into art. And we also do know that they've made a lot of progress on these underground facilities. Here is what they looked like back in, what is this, February? Here's the same location in March. So they were pretty far along in kind of, I think, white box. This was about 6 months ago? 7 months ago? I could see them getting this kind of work done in 7 months on that location. And they kind of talked about, so you can see landing pads over here. They talked about how they were focusing on the ground approaches to these places so that you could also be entering them from the ground. And I think that's going to be a focus. So this might be relevant, this kind of art and area. They're looking good. These are going to be interesting locations. A good change to how the game works with the facilities. Royal Raptor, thank you so much for the membership over on YouTube. Appreciate you. Or the super chat. What do I think of the rumors about the Zeus coming this CitizenCon? I don't know where those rumors are coming from. Where is that? Because they mentioned yeah, where's the rumors of the Zeus coming from? If that's an engine, you see roads in that picture. Oh, I don't know if they're roads like procedurally generated roads or just made for this specific place. from Pipeline, from Inforunners. What's the idea behind it? The idea behind why the Zeus would show up now. Hope they'll start implementing roads and fences soon. Oh yeah. Need those fences. So I can show people where to land their spaceships. Leaked in the files of the PTU. Ah, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Nah, Zeus is a ship. It was one of the first ships, I think the first quantum-capable ship by RSI. Alright, moving on to the narrative section. I love some good narrative. Narrative is always a really nice, like, cherry on top, because features is really where the good stuff is. Locations is nice. Narrative is like, so that's what we've got to look forward to. The beginning of September saw the narrative team closing out any remaining bugs for the release of Alpha 3.20. Looking ahead, the team completed work on another batch of missions for Pyro organizations and gangs. Nice. Additionally, they continued working on several new missions for Stanton, including Blockade Runner and Data Heist. Scripts were also written for automated computer systems that will be used in missions and at new locations. I wonder what work they're still doing on Blockade Runner and Data Heist. Maybe just flavor text. The narrative design team continued improving the lives of AI around both Stanton and Pyro with more naturalistic behavior patterns. Oh! You mean standing on chairs and walking into walls isn't natural? They may have been lying to us. Several discussions were held focusing on how they can better capture the feel of Pyro based on how its NPC population behaves at stations and outposts. Is this deja vu? The narrative design team worked on NPC behaviors for Pyro and continued to explore how to make NPC behaviors feel unique across the various landing zones. Work on NPC behaviors for Pyro. Several discussions were held focusing on NPC behaviors in Pyro. Okay, this was August. What about July? No, I don't see it mentioned in July. All they talked about here was mission content, mission providers, and the overall mission system in Pyro. But not specific NPCs, so they were, I guess... they started this work in August and are continuing it in September. So there's a lot of work going into Pyro NPC behaviors. Hopefully that's something we see finished next week, at least in terms of, like, discussions. On the website, the team published a Whitley's Guide to the Santok Yai, another thought-provoking batch of lore makers' community questions, as well as a variety of Galactopedia entries. I actually didn't look at the community questions. Any good one? Religious factions, Tavaran War, Air on Arcorp. Have productions. Ooh, they might talk about the revamp here. Have questions about the production of oxygen on Arcorp since there are no trees or any other kind of vegetation. How does it have an oxygen-rich atmosphere? The answer is almost all of the terrain has been sculpted, zoned, and built upon, leaving only its mountain ranges and large bodies of water left for nature. The version of the planet currently in-game doesn't represent those areas yet, but will hopefully be added in a future patch. Ooh. Okay. I expected better communicate. I was expecting a better message on it than hopefully a future patch. I'm guessing they have not put any thought into how they're going to change Arcorp. I thought that would be something that would follow kind of after Hurston did, with the Microtech additions going on as well, but it sounds like they've got no near-term plans for Arcorp's changes. But this does, again, confirm that Arcorp will be changing. It won't just be a city. Okay, how do shields work? Orison's atmosphere. I don't think we'll reveal anything there. ATMs. Okay. Are there ATMs? Why are there ATMs around? As part of the UEE switch to purely digital currency, a faction in the Senate wanted to enshrine a right to fiscal privacy through guaranteeing an option to use physicalized credit chits. While chits are popular among criminal elements, they are not the only ones that use them. People wanting to make surprise purchases, folks living on the frontier with chancy comm connections, and tech-averse citizens all prefer to use physical currency. The ATMs serve as a way for people to move credits from their accounts onto a chit. Transferring funds off of a chit is easier as most Mobiglass have that ability. Ooh! Okay. Design has been discussing various options for how to incorporate the chits into the game, and the hope is that they will eventually be something players can find around the verse. That is, see, sometimes you get good info from the lore team. So, I mean, that's how games work, right? You have to be able to loot currency. We're finally getting confirmation that they have a way for that to be done. You'll be able to find little digital things. You probably just pick it up and your Mobiglass automatically adds it to your credit balance. Civilian pilot license training. It was previously mentioned that the majority of UEE population does not own a ship. This is true. We are the lucky ones that get to fly around Star Citizen. Can't wait till that's more obvious in game, but it's true. I would imagine that the majority of pilots in the verse who own personal ships are probably citizens who learned how to fly ships whilst serving in the UEE Navy and received the appropriate pilot training along the way. But what about the ordinary citizens who are using their ships for jobs like cargo hauling? Are they different classes of pilots that a pilot's license will allow them to fly? This is a good one. You're gonna have to redeem it somehow? Well, they said Mobiglass can redeem it, so there is that. The answer here is that they have discussed the Traffic Safety Board, which is part of the Department of Transportation and Navigation, issuing certifications for pilots to legally be allowed to operate spaceships. There are different classes for certifications for various vessels, depending on their size and capabilities. In recent years, thanks to how advanced sim pods have been, much of the training and certification process can be done virtually, and with the popularity of flight sims like Arena Commander, there are numerous pilots around the verse who are accredited to fly without ever having physically flown a ship. Oh, that's good. How this might be represented in game is still being discussed with design, and the final decision is still pending. Why though? Why hasn't that been figured out? That seems... What would be holding that back? Guess the game capabilities. So maybe that players will have to be certified before being allowed to legally operate vehicles, or possibly that there will be an assumption that they have been certified well before they even started playing. You know what? Kawaku. What if that was the tutorial for the game? Getting that certification so that you can fly your starter ship. I feel like then it wouldn't really make sense that you're retired from the UEE. I guess maybe they could be like, hey, you're just some old man. You haven't flown since you were in the military. By the way, how's it going, Kwaku? What is up, dude? We were just talking about your missions. Your little missions. Your dirty little missions in Star Citizen. A lot of us won't be able to get a flight license. Hey, I don't need one. If you're looking for a poster child player... For all those who aren't planning on flying ships, you're looking at me, buddy. I am the kind of person who plays a space flight sim for the not space flight. And I would say probably 10 years ago that would have been really weird, but by now, I think a lot of other players are in Star Citizen for that very reason. I need no license. Just put me in an escape pod and shoot me in a direction. As long as I got a parachute, I'm good. Old man in the body of like a 25-year-old. Exactly, though. Young and spry, but still can't seem to put two and two together that right turn lane means you gotta turn right, buddy. You've been thinking they should issue licenses to fly different types and shapes of ships? That'd be Yeah, that'd be cool. Why are Star Citizen's aliens so un-alien? The only info I think we could really get from here is that we want to be able to play as aliens. Let's see. It was a conscious choice for a couple reasons. It was so we could potentially capture actors playing the roles. That's a pretty good one. But also, one of the original goals was to ultimately allow players to potentially play as aliens, so it would save us from having to create completely unique animation sets and allow for our ships to accommodate them with minimal modifications, as well as letting humans fly their ships. That is all super, super, like, makes a ton of sense for a game, specifically. Wouldn't that be funny if, like, they let players play as, like, spiders and had to figure out how those spiders could fly the spaceships or, like, get into the vehicles? Or just be like, you know what, you're a spider. You can't do that, sorry. You gotta chill in the cargo bay, spider player. You feel I enjoy theory crafting about the game more than actually playing it? I mean, yeah. Most of the features I'm excited for aren't in the game yet. I love talking about this game. That's, I guess, why we spend more time on stream talking about it than playing it. But that's going to change over time. Like, I've definitely spent more hours playing this game in 2023 than any other year before. I would say I've spent more hours playing this game in 1 month of 2023 than previous years. And once engineering is in game, that number's going to start to skyrocket, because I want to be a source for content, information, and guides regarding engineering, exploration, and data hauling. That's kind of like the part of Star Citizen I want to lock in, outside of the general monthly reports and features and all that kind of stuff. I love that Jazz. I said Jazz, not Jaff. Do I know where CIG stated they sold over 2 times the tickets for 2023 versus 2019? Yeah, that's in a comment on Spectrum in the CitizenCon FAQ thread. Pyro can happen without server meshing. Simply transfer clients from Stanton servers to Pyro ones. Fair. I am an engineer in real life. Yeah. Although, judging by my recent math skills, maybe I need some updates on that. All right. Back to the monthly report. The whole reason we were here. I just wanted to check out what are the kind of stuff they answered for us in the lore. We also got a Galactopedia update, and Jump Point, I guess, is coming out next month. Top of the dome math sucks as a civil engineer. That makes you feel better. I think the CitizenCon schedule will be next Wednesday. I thought it would be this Wednesday. Maybe it'll be on Friday. But they really need to post it. Oh no, I am not a pilot. Manufacturing engineer. I actually really wanted to go into manufacturing engineering. I think it's a cool thing to do. No spaceship in the garage. No, it just pulls up out front and picks me up. Hey, Griffin. Griffin Gaming with the raid on Twitch. Thank you so much for dropping by. Welcome. Welcome, my friends. The main man at Soul Citizens, Griffin Gaming, podcast host, good friend, streamer, great man of Star Citizen content. And folks, how you been, buddy? Up, you gotta run? No problem. That's cool. That's fine. I wouldn't want to talk to me either. I get it. No, I'm kidding. Have a good day, my friend. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate you. Go give him a follow, guys, if you haven't. He hosts Soul Citizens, which is a great talk show with Griffin Gaming, Abdiwan, who's sometimes in here. I don't know if he's in here right now. And many other friends of Star Citizen, the black community at Star Citizen. And they do a lot of good weekly content. Bi-weekly. Two weekly. What do you call that? It's not bi... Yeah? Is that bi-weekly? Goes both ways? That's kind of funny because... Never mind. English. Even without server meshing, we need that component that transfers authority of entities. That's true, but that's more when you're in the same area, right? And fast cart. Fast carts, there we go. He's also part of Soul Citizens. I actually just hosted, what was that? A 12-hour stream? Was it 12 or 24 hours? They just hosted a huge charity event, raised a ton of money for St. Jude. Congrats on that event. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of that, guys. And well done on that. Would you prefer more systems coming in without proper meshing or waiting for meshing first? Honestly, I'd just wait for meshing. Any game systems that I care about don't need more systems. But that's my own selfish take, you know? It was an honor fast cart. I unfortunately had a pretty busy day and had to get to another meeting right after that, or else I would have stayed and talked to you guys more, because there's so much to talk about right now. Definitely going to take a chance to get back on the show sometime soon. Maybe after CitizenCon we can link up. This is the cool kid stream. I mean, Black Intellect's here too. We got Black Intellect in here. Griff was just here. Fast Cart's here. Ubdi. Supposit. Moondog. Like, I could just go down the whole list. So obviously it's a cool kids club. Essentially, if you're here, you're a cool kid. So I don't know. I don't know what everybody else is talking about. Let's go to online services, yeah? How about more monthly report? That old thing. September saw the online services team working on the seeding service, a new star service for server meshing. They said the words. They said the words. Both was the correct answer. Ah, I knew it. This is a C++ gRPC service that reads data from the game files to seed global graveyard and shard database by using the entity graph service. Some of you with eagle eyes or dove eyes. I've heard that doves also have good eyes. Maybe not as good as eagles. But you know, it's still a bird, so it could probably see better than human eyes. So I guess just in general, if you have bird eyes, I don't know, it's just a weird saying if you have eagle eyes. You might have mentioned noticed gRPC there is something they talked about at the beginning of the year as a big part of the recent changes they've done. I'm going to try and find that for you so we can reference it word for word what they said. I guess owls have good eyes too. Birds in general, just great at seeing. Where is this thing? What the heck? Is this the wrong one? No, this is the right one. Was that last May? Did I get the wrong one? I think that was last May when they were starting on the... when they were starting on PES. Aren't baby birds blind? Alright, fine. Adult birds. Eagles have two fovas? Birds have a tetrachromic vision? Okay, I can understand why they wouldn't say, why would they would just say eagle-eyed. That's that's a mouthful. Yeah, if you're a bird with tetrachromic vision, you might have caught this. Sure, buddy. Sure. All right, so here it is. What they had to say was, to support PES, we needed to create 12 different services. For server meshing, only 4 more services are currently planned. I bet you that number has gone up, but this was them kind of trying to show that PES takes a lot more finagling. So you can see just how much foundational tech for server meshing is in PES. As part of this host of online services we've turned on, we switched to gRPC, which is an open source, scalable, Google-sponsored data protocol for online communication. The nice aspect of using tech like this is that it is designed to scale. Just imagine how many concurrent users Google must handle. And there are lots of available third-party tools and code compared to creating an internal custom protocol. This is not what they were talking about for their graph database though, right? Like when he says that they were losing stability because of the third-party enterprise graph database resource they're using, it wasn't the Google one, right? I guess this is just Google sponsored. It's not by Google. Incubation project. So this is, yeah, it's an open source. I wonder if this is what they were talking about. Either way, that is what they're talking about in this monthly report here, when they mentioned the seeding service for server meshing. It's made by Google? Oh. They just open sourced it. Alright, a refactor of the character customizer began with the goal... Dang it. With the goal being to replace the backend used by the current customizer to leverage both the entitlement and identity services to reduce the database load on login and persist DNA and customization across patches. So, mark that one off the list, folks. I said that we might see a improved character customizer at CitizenCon. I had it in my maybe section. I'm going to move that to my probably not section. If they're just beginning with the character customizer, they're probably not going to have anything to show us. Do you think it was Amazon's services? The team also continued to update Easy Anti-Cheat in an attempt to eliminate false positives as well as implement sanctions in the future. Love them sanctions. Significant time was also spent on database research to resolve some of the recent deadlock issues and explore other potential database providers. Okay, there's the line we're talking about. So this is not related to gRPC, or else they probably would have set it up here. This is something else, some other database provider. This is that big piece of news that was kind of what Chris Roberts came out and said. And I guess this probably means that they only recently figured out what the actual problem was. This is why we haven't heard anything over the last several months. That's not for sure. That's just my interpretation. But the fact that they're only just telling us this now on the monthly report at the same time the news is coming out from a specific post, I'm thinking means it's new news. And they weren't just sitting on it. But maybe it wasn't. They do also like to sit on news until they can find a solution for it. But they haven't. So, not sure what's going on there. R&D team worked on a variety of important updates to the game engine that will be shown to the community soon. Is that CitizenCon soon, or like in 2 years soon? Hey, Supposit, I'll catch you later. Have a good sleep. Tech Animation supported... Oh, we're on to Tech Art and Animation. They supported numerous teams across the project with a wide variety of animation tasks, including asset implementation and maintenance. Great progress was made on creating and implementing creatures across the PU. As part of this, work was done on toolsets for rigging and physics proxy authoring and implementation. Comms calls and dialogue were a major focus in September as well, with the goal being to create content at speed. I like that! Speed! Yay! This has been hugely successful and collates many lengthy manual processes into singular toolset with a great user interface. Okay. Okay. Finally, they continued to provide additional faces for the game to source from, providing much more variation to NPC populations. I wish they would take our faces. I want to see myself in there. I actually don't really. That'd be kind of weird. UI. Please give me some good UI's news. Please. Please, please, please. Alongside debugging for Alpha 3.21 and future releases, UI supported mission features on the Blockade Runner screens, and with final touch-ups for another ongoing mandate. Dang it. The team progressed with the Reputation app, adding new styles to the item shops. Meh. They're currently doing final test on Pyro's airlock screens. That wasn't really much. That's too bad. Hey, Coffee. How you doing? Finally, in VFX, last month, the VFX team progressed with a variety of Pyro locations. Several vehicles were worked on too, with one being completed, and they also focused on optimization and bug fixing for Alpha 3.20. So that is our monthly report. They held back a lot, I think, on this, specifically in upcoming ships, and I think also in some of the features work that's been going on. But we got a sprint report coming up today, which I will be going over on the stream tomorrow at the same time. So if you guys want to, you know, see what is actually going on that maybe wasn't included here, it'll probably actually be more of the stuff that was included here. Come to that. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait for CitizenCon to see what's truly going on and the more exciting stuff, because they definitely limited it a little bit here. But that's your monthly report. Thank you all so much for joining me for this one today. It's always a good time. What did you think? Was it good? Was it bad? Are you, any specific thing that you're feeling better or worse because it was or was not mentioned? Maybe that you're looking for an update with CitizenCon? The drought continues? You feel like there's still a drought? We got an update on server meshing. I am of the belief the drought has freaking broken finally. Cantor, you missed most of it. Bad Karma, appreciate you. Have a nice day, Mirasam. You want another 12-hour stream? Oh, I bet. 07's Moondog. Thanks for coming. Like you said at the beginning of the stream, this report reeked of SitCon. Yeah. What they say, Cantor? They basically said we've got some good news, but wait for SitCon. A1, C1, Storm, SRV coming soon. Yeah. And it's funny because none of them showed up, basically, in the ship section. So that just goes to show that they're holding stuff. Key takeaway? It's really the same takeaway as the rest of the year so far monthly reports. There's a lot of really healthy development in a lot of different parts of the game. Quality of life. Foundational improvements. Engine changes. Performance updates. Bug fixes. New missions. New gameplay. New locations. All of those things are seeing regular work every month, which wasn't really the job, or wasn't really the memo. It didn't feel like it was the memo up until maybe last year. So even though this is kind of a smaller monthly report, it still has that same feeling of well-rounded progress. And really all we're waiting for is just to start seeing it more in-game. And it feels like we're getting some of that with 321, but it's not quite there. I think server meshing, or at least PES, has really messed them up, and server meshing is really a big milestone for them to get past it and start to implement more of this stuff that they're talking about. They're doing a great job building hype for CitizenCon. Oh yeah. Where did the year go? Man, it went to a whole bunch of teeth gnashing and sitting back waiting. You've never seen so much hype for SC. It's an exciting time to be a backer. And like, this summer was like the low point for hype. Isn't that weird? That's just how much it swings with this game. Negative 100 to positive 100 with no stops at 0. Report was short but sweet. Yeah. It had some interesting bits in there. Definitely nice to hear more work going on with Reputation. I always love hearing that. If I could pick only one thing about SC that is my favorite, what would it be? The idea of cause and effect, or risk and reward, or I don't know, just any way you want to put it, of like, do something and see the return, if then else, cause and effect, f around and find out. All of those concepts are very heavily imbued in the design of Star Citizen, and they continue along with it, with all the different aspects, and that's what I really like about it, I think. That on top of the fact that it's in space, you know, that's kind of a big one. Thought the hype was much higher at 318. I think there was exhaustion. Truly exhaustion at 318. Because there were so many delays. Starfield, since its announcement, has lit somewhat of a fire under CIG to get more with the program. Anything that Starfield's launch would do for Star Citizen, I don't think we would notice for a long time. All of the stuff that they're putting in the game right now or doing right now is stuff they were planning at the beginning of the year. This is CitizenCon stuff, Jump Point stuff, Cargo Refactor stuff, the Spirit series ships, Santok Yai. These are all the things they've been working on most of the year. I don't think there's any game out there or anything really out there that's going to change Star Citizen's development in any major way other than a downturn in the economy, because all of their development is pushed behind two different things: Squadron 42 and server meshing. They're focusing on the most important things. People keep saying they need to finish the game and do the features and all that stuff, and they literally can't finish the game without server meshing, so there's not really much else they can do to, you know, shift course to make things work. Reddit said Starfield would be a Star Citizen killer. I got that comment on a lot of my on my early Starfield videos. Where's Tony Z? You don't buy this Starfield narrative. Takes CIG way too long to react to anything but Starfield to have been a factor. Reading both companies to filth, eh? They are quite different games. I still got to get my review about that game done. Oh, I think I missed this picture when we first started. This is just one of those new Derelict locations. Honestly, wait, hold on. Those new Derelict locations are still not in 3.21. What is going on? Can we do a quick review session, folks? So, at the beginning of the year, we got an Inside Star Citizen that was looking at... Oh man, where was it? What was this one? Is it Lorville Revisited? No. This is the Derelict ships. Okay, you know what? I can find this better if it's in my own... It's in my own library. So we got this Inside Star Citizen at the beginning of the year that was looking at new locations. And these locations were specifically derelicts that were supposed to be littered throughout the Stanton system. They were essentially new versions of the same derelict outposts we've already had. This was going to be on Daymar. This was going to be more of them on Microtech. Let's see. No, that says... Oh, no. This isn't what I want. Here we go. Like these. So they kind of talked about some of these being on more of the locations. These shanties. They might have vehicles. They have bars. And you can see in the bottom corner here, it says Alpha 319 Derelicts. So these were locations that they really wanted to have in 319. And instead of putting them in, they kind of continued to talk about them, or I guess they worked on them more. They expanded them. And they dug deeper into the concept. And so... Let me see if I can find... Sprint Report's going to be about a bunch of different things. So this said 319 derelicts, and then we got another update with them here. And this was in between 319 and 320. At which point, they did say at the end of the episode that we would be seeing these in 320. Actually, I think that's something that I can find on YouTube. Yeah, that'd be here.
In a small little settlement where...
Join us, Ed and Victor.
There are about 15 new derelict settlements, each with their own look and narrative that are being added to the Stanton system in the upcoming Alpha 320.
So they were planned for 319. They didn't happen. And then they were planned for 3.20. And they didn't happen. And now they're shooting for I mean, they're not shooting for 3.21. I don't understand what's going on with these locations. But they're proving difficult. I guess maybe they want to pair them with some missions before they bring them in, but I don't know why they like expected them to be in these other why they expected them to be in these other updates if they were not going to make it into 321 anyways because of missions. Don't derelict settlements make more sense in a system like Pyro though? I think in more number in Pyro, yeah. They'd make sense still in Stanton, but more sense in Pyro. What's up, Minnie? Yeah, maybe they'll be in the sprint report today. I think that does seem like the kind of thing that we would normally see in sprint reports. And honestly, it might have been the thing that we saw in the sprint reports back when we saw about it. The one I'm looking for right now might have been a sprint report. Because I am having some trouble finding it.
Going to have more sand on it, we have more dirt, we have grass, we have...
Oh, so this is it.
About why that ship is there and who is going to leave around.
So let's see if he mentions
And we
it
have,
in
like,
this, that
interiors,
it's, if it's
some
supposed to be coming in 319 or not.
And you're gonna hear more.
So, what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that the crash derelict system is continuing to evolve as more and more locations are added to the Stanton system in the upcoming Alpha 319.
Yeah, so they were talking about new locations in 319. But I don't think it happened. I think the only thing we got was the... No, that's right. We had already previously gotten those other derelicts in 318. So we haven't had any new derelicts added this year. I'm not sure what's going on with these locations, but maybe we'll see them in the sprint report today. Maybe they're holding them back to implement actual gameplay related to them after all the criticism they received for the sand caves. Sure, but they came out and said again that they were going to be in 3.20. That's just why I'm confused. It seems almost like maybe they made a mistake saying they were going to be in 3.20, or maybe something happened at the last moment. Maybe they decided to develop them further. Just got your acceptance into the Garden Org. Welcome. Hit up the people on Discord. They're good folks. Glad to have you, cranky old man. Look forward to some space crankiness. Aren't the derelict stations already in the game? Not yet. Think we're going to see visuals for Terra, Magnus, and Nyx at CitizenCon? That would be cool. I'd be amazed if they have work done on Terra and Magnus. That'd be very cool. You think it'll be the last numbered patch before Pyro? So you think we'll get 4.0 in what, March? It would be great, 321 Pyro. Maybe they are in and nobody found them yet. There are a couple locations that are in, but unnamed. Yeah, maybe they are in the game. Maybe they're in 3.20 and we just haven't found them, and they haven't, but they didn't put it on patch notes or anything. Jump point stations were added to expand Hull C trading gameplay. Do you mind if I read something to you, Black Intellect? The economy team set up shops at 3 jump point stations to provide the Hull C and other cargo ships with additional trade routes. So good spot. Good call. Oh, you mean concept art. Ah, Gumbo. Come on, man. Don't do that to me. God dang it, we are going to get concept art from them. I didn't even think about that. Oh, God. I guess we're always going to get concept art. There will always be something that is a year or two out. Just bleh. Search the word Polish on the monthly update. The vibe you get is that Pyro is mostly complete at this point. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. It's mostly missions and NPCs that they're working on, I think, now. Alright, y'all. That's about all I've got today for the monthly report. I am going to go and work on some videos. I am backed up on video work, guys. We're probably going to have like something like 4 or 5 videos come out in the next couple weeks. So keep an eye out starting hopefully tomorrow, if I can get this stuff done. Well, I guess starting today. There's already a new video out on the main channel if you haven't seen it. I go over the failed feature from Star Citizen called hover mode. For those of you who don't know, it was 4 years ago they introduced hover mode, and then it failed so bad they took it out the next patch. And the latest video goes over what that kind of feature was all about, why it was wrong, and what they're doing to bring it back in a more creative way. So I'd check that out if you want, and keep an eye out for all of the other videos that are going to be flowing from the channel over the next couple weeks in the lead up to CitizenCon. Remember, we will be at CitizenCon, so if you're going to be there and you're part of the garden, go on Discord and let us know. We're looking for a place where we can all meet up, hang out. We will have some merch there to give away and also to sell. We'll be doing some question and answer stuff for videos, so if you want to meet us at CitizenCon and be on video, make sure to hit us up. And yeah, regular streams and stuff until then. Yeah, no problem on the reply. This has been your second screen tomato, with a good old dose of Star Citizen news and monthly report. Thank you again, everybody, for coming today. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Let's find somebody on Twitch to pass you on to. I'm thinking Loken. Oh, you've also got Avenger. Looks like a little lower. So I'll pass you all to... And he's starting. It's perfect timing. I'm going to pass you all to Loken, another info runner. Good guy. Looks like he's just getting started, so get in, ask him some questions, troll him a little bit, give him some trouble. Thank you all for coming today. I hope you enjoyed this stream, had to learn something new. I'll catch you tomorrow for Inside Star Citizen reaction and probably some gameplay. And then I will see you ongoing next week for more gameplay and 3.21 news. But have a good day, everybody. Be happy, give somebody a hug, and have a good one. I said that twice, that was dumb. Anyways, bye.